Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. I recently covered my whole house in wrapping paper. What can I say? I wanted to live in the present. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Apiary from Stonemaier Games. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. In Apiary from Stonemaier Games, 1 to 5 players takes on the roles of Space Bees! That's right! Does that terrify you? It terrifies me! Space Bees! Players get their own player board, which has kind of their own colony with several hexes on it. And then you also get a number of bees. Now, these bees have 4 sides to them that have a different number of values, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is going to be very important over the course of the game. You're also going to have a smaller player board for those bee workers, and you're also going to have a number of hibernation tokens on that board as well. More on that later. Now, there are a number of basic resources in the game, and you're going to have space on your player board for those specific types of tokens. As you play the game and you gain more kind of colony hexes, you'll be able to store more items on that board as well. Now, the game board has various spots for your workers. You have a place where you can actually explore new worlds, placing new cards out on the track to show these new worlds, which also then populate with resources that you can go ahead and gain whenever you land there. You're also going to have farm tiles, recruit tiles, and development tiles, which you can purchase and add to your colony. You're going to have carving tiles, very special tiles that you'll also be able to add. There'll be a conversion tracker, a place where essentially you can convert some resources into other resources, and you'll also be able to teach a dance, and teaching these dances will also give you advantages when other people go there. You also have a grow location where you can gain more workers, or you essentially can gain a new tile to place on your colony so that you have more places to fill up with other tiles. Essentially, there'll be a research spot where you can gain seed cards. These are cards that you can use for various abilities, including kind of banking them over the course of the game. There's also a hibernation comb. Again, more on that in a minute. And this is a worker placement game, but unlike most worker placement games, where when one person claims a spot, then nobody else can go there for the round, here, somebody can go to a location, but anybody else can go to that same location, knocking the existing person out. Now, that's important because if you knock someone out, sometimes they'll just slide to the next location, but if they're completely knocked out of a location, then that worker will return to you, but it will be enhanced. Essentially, it will go to the next level. You can go ahead then and place that next level worker either back on your card so that you can use it again, or you can go ahead and you can put that kind of in the lower section, which means that you won't get it back. It will go to kind of the pool. You'll have to claim it back, but critically, it will give you access to the hibernation tokens. And the hibernation tokens you can actually put on the hibernation spots on the board to give you various advantages, and they will be very important for scoring at the end of the game. Now, again, I'm not going to go through all of the actions that you can do in this game. There's a ton of different places you can go and things you can do and systems that interact. There are some great how to play videos out there. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds here, but suffice it to say, you are going to these different locations in order to gain resources, in order to grow your colonies, to gain more tiles, in order to score in different ways. But again, sometimes you'll need different resources, so you got to go to the conversion area. As I say, you can teach a dance, which creates a new way people can convert things. And every time somebody does that, then you get a benefit as well for teaching that dance. But again, you're also exploring the universe. There's an explore place where you're moving this giant spaceship bee to different planets to gain resources and other advantages the first time they arrive on those places. Now, the game is going to end when one player has depleted all of their hibernation tokens, they've used them all, or if all of the hibernation spots are collectively taken by all of the players. If either of those two things happen, then end game triggers. Players are going to go ahead and then look at their score. Now, there's a ton of different things you're going to score for here. You're going to score for your initial player board will give you scoring points depending on how you put out a lot of your tiles. Some of the tiles themselves will allow you to score in different ways. There's also a Queen's Favor track. You can gain Queen's Favor over the course of the game, and depending on where you are on that track, you will also gain points. You will play seed cards under your player board, and these things can be played then for their points as well. There are 3 different hibernation zones, and whoever holds the majority of their hibernation tokens in those zones, they will gain a first place point value. Who's ever got the second place, they will gain the second place value. Now, if ever they are tied, then the point values are added together and they are split between the 2 parties. So players go ahead, they add up all of their final scores, and whoever has the greatest score wins. Apiary. So Apiary, it certainly has an unusual theme, space bees. Who knew? That it was really interesting and unexpected when they first announced this. They said it was a game about bees in space, but at this point, there's so many interesting and odd and different and unusual themes out there, and I've played too many that were too good to dismiss something based on its theme. And I only say that because I've heard people tell me they won't play this game because they don't like the theme. I think that's rubbish. I'll try anything regardless of the theme. Mechanics may turn me off, but theme, I don't know. If it looks interesting, and I'll tell you this right now, I'll give Stonemaier the benefit of the doubt any day. I played too many great games from them that I wasn't expecting much from just because of my tastes, and I really liked it. Case in point, Wingspan. I had no desire to play Wingspan. Did not look interesting to me at all. And they sent me a review copy, and I played it, and I loved it. I think Wingspan is a phenomenal game. Not one of my favorites. It's not one I go to constantly, but it's a good game. So Apiary. I sat down the other day, and I was very fortunate. Again, I'm still trying to build up my gaming group, but we were able to get 4 people for a game of Apiary the other night up to Ray's. And we're playing this game, and of course, it's a worker placement game. And I like worker placement. I'm a fan of worker placement. And I was really intrigued with this idea of the bees, how they turn up in their point value, because the greater their point value, the more effective they are, and the more things they can do in those different spaces, the more advantages they get in those different spaces. And so I thought that was very interesting. But I really like the idea of, if I go to a place, it's not locked out to everyone. Anybody else can still go there, and if they do and they knock me out, I'll get some advantages. So I really like the idea, the theory behind that. I really thought it was cool. It was very intriguing. So we sat down to play the game. It took me a minute to click. Some of the systems here took me, I was maybe 2 or 3 turns into it. Some of the other guys that I was playing with, they got it really quick, and it took me a few turns to kind of really into it, some of the ideas here. You read them on paper, but when you actually get to the game board, it's oftentimes it's a different whole different ball game. But anyway, I go ahead and I start playing the game, and gradually it comes to me. And then the whole race and trying to get the resources you need, buy the tiles that you want, and the abilities that they give you are really fun and interesting. And trying to get the carve and get some of those tiles, they just give you access to a lot of really either really good abilities or really good points. So we play this game, and I'll tell you right now, I got slaughtered. I came in dead last, and I think that was because it took me too long to kind of grok it the way the other players were doing. So I kind of was limping out of the gate, so to speak, which is entirely on me. I accept that. But this game, as we played it more and more and more, I realized this is a really, really well-designed game. It's a really well-oiled machine. My friends, I think, probably like it more than I do because maybe their tastes run more toward kind of Euros and stuff like that. But having said that, I did enjoy this quite a bit. It's going into the collection. I will play it again, I'm sure, many times. It's greater. It was more fun and more engaging than I expected it to be, which is interesting because, like I say, there's a lot of buzz about the game going around, and I didn't really buy into it. But I ended up really enjoying it. It's just a fun, solid game. Now there is some iconography. There's a lot of iconography you got to learn here, which is fine. It's not too bad again once you get into it, but there is that learning curve for the iconography. But I was actually surprised at it, even though it did take me a while. Once it clicked, man, it became super easy to play. And I liked the race element too. I liked how you were really racing for those like hibernation spots, right? And there was one point where I had three. There's 6 spots, and I had 3 in that first game. And Ray pulled something, and he was able to get the other 3. And I was so mad. I was like, I got a majority lock in there, but he was able to get it. So we had to split the points instead of me getting the the first place points. Ugh. Anyway, this is a great game, another winner from Stonemaier Games, and the recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Apiary is buy it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my lectures on that channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would check out that channel and subscribe. And of course, please leave a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. And if you are a fan of the channel, I'd ask you to go ahead and click on the super thanks button here on the YouTube page and leave a tip. Did you know that for Christmas, Santa gets free parking? It's on the house. You know what really bothers me about Apiary? They're space bees, but they build a spaceship that looks like a bee. We don't build spaceships that look like people.